Michael McDonald is the managing director of a family business, Weber Australia, that have been clients of Loftus for more than 25 years. We're going to talk to him about his plans and his visions for the future of the food industry. Michael, tell us a little bit about your background.
So I've really grown up with Weber in my blood to some extent. My father actually started importing Weber barbecues into Australia back in about 1978, which is where our business began here, importing barbecues from the US. And since then, our family business has grown alongside Weber's business to become the brand and the barbecue business you know today.
It really is one of those household brands, isn't it? I mean, it's almost a de facto, barbecue brand.
Yeah, well, I think everybody's got that. Australians have those associations, those memories. I can remember clearly, Sunday afternoons through the 1980s and 90s, enjoying roast dinners, roast lunch on the Weber kettle. And I think a lot of people have those relationships. And now that we've moved, from that 80s, 90s period with the Weber kettle, I think we're appealing to a new generation of barbecuers as it's such an important part of the Australian sort of lifestyle fabric.
Well, with that, Michael, where is Weber today? What are you doing different today that you might have been doing 5-10 years ago?
Yeah, there's a big push today with an integration of technology into barbecuing. So Weber's really leading the charge as far as assisted barbecuing goes. So the days when you might be pulling out a cookbook and following instructions from a booklet, today you actually have technology that's integrated into the barbecues that we sell that'll tell you when your food is cooked the way you like it. You can set it up to say, I'd like my steak rare. The technology will ping you on your phone to let you know that even though you're inside, maybe chatting with your friends or family, that your steak is now cooked the way that you want to have it cooked and it's time to pull it off. So that kind of technology integration is a big part of where we're headed.
And I guess during COVID, the sales have been growing. People at home more, people wanting more barbecuing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're one of the businesses that has been extremely fortunate in this period that barbecuing has remained something that's been important to people. We've been supported by obviously people being at home, but then also as lockdown and restrictions have eased, I think people have felt a real connection or a real need to bring people back together. And barbecuing also supports that. It's something you can do at home with your family on a Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday night, but it's also something that you spend Saturday afternoon doing with your mates when you can get 10 or 15 people around your house again.
Has it become more a year-round thing than it once was?
Absolutely. I think barbecuing used to be considered burnt chop and sausage with friends around in the summer. And we've been doing a lot of work for many years to help people understand what barbecuing really can be and what it can do for you all the year round. If you think about cooking a roast dinner, that doesn't necessarily need to tie up with summer. And we've even been doing a lot of work to help people find new, different ways to create sort of autumn, winter dishes on their barbecue and really maximize the value of having a Weber in the backyard.
Michael, you're launching a cooking academy. Can you tell me about that?
Yes, so right here in Adelaide on Fullerton Road, we've just putting the finishing touches on what we call the Weber Grill Academy. And it's going to be an event and cooking school space fundamentally where people can get hands-on with our products. It's not a culinary class so much as it's a barbecue class where you could come along, have an experience with some of your friends, a drink, some good food, some good times, leave with a full stomach. And that's really what Weber's all about. And so we want to be able to bring that experience, educate people a little bit, but also introduce new people to what the Weber experience really can be.
Michael, you talked about the technology being built into the products themselves. How are you using technology and your relationship with Loftus on that front?
Yeah, so we've had an amazing relationship with Loftus for many, many years. It must be almost 20 years. And they've supported us through a period of amazing growth. So they've been with us there since we're a team of only 12 or 15 people based here in Adelaide, to taking on the New Zealand market, to expanding our business to include things like the Grill Academy. So they've really been like our partner through that entire period. That means that we don't really have to worry about investing internally in a huge heap of IT experience. We've got a really trusted partner that we can work with through Loftus.
Everybody talks a lot about the use of data and driving the business with data. Where does that play a role within your organisation?
I think there's so many different places that data is starting to play a role. If you think about something like integrating technology into a barbecue and what that could tell you. So if you're now using a barbecue and you're saying, I love my steak rare, we now know that you have this barbecue, you enjoy this type of food, you use it at this frequency. And so it becomes really relevant data when we want to communicate with you about things that might be value adding for you. And that just means we build a closer relationship with our customer, with the consumer and the user of the barbecue, and we can provide more value as a brand than our competitors can.
So it's becoming a pretty much part of the Internet of Things in many ways.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's exactly how we talk about it, as being the Internet of Things in barbecuing. And there's we're just scratching the surface when it comes to that type of technology. There's so much that I can see 2, 3, 5 years down the track, so much value that kind of technology and connection to the customer will bring.
Well, you talked of the academy. What other things do you see in the industry, in your business, as being contributing to growth?
Yeah, so I think for us, one of the big areas of potential growth right now, supported by COVID again, is really through digital commerce. We've traditionally been a business extremely focused on hands-on experience. I think you can't taste a digital barbecue, you can't smell a digital barbecue. But for us, we're really wanting to make sure that we can blend that online sales space with our in-store and academy style hands-on experiences that we give, and create a more sort of integrated online in-store universe. And I think that's a really important way for us to start to reach new customers and support them in a time like with COVID where they may not be able to get out and about as easily. So we've got a huge push around our e-commerce technology at the moment.
It was an interesting term you used there, experience, because you really are selling experience. You're not selling a product. It's the Weber experience that I guess people embrace.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, it's the memories that you create. The Sunday afternoon barbecue with my dad is ingrained in me forever, and you won't be able to take that away. Nobody else will be able to own that experience in my memory. And I think if we can continue to build those kinds of relationships with our customers and have Weber be more than a product. I mean, to me, it's so much more than a product. I know to a lot of people, Weber is not a product. It's a part of their family. We talk about the Weber family and we mean it. We're there in the backyard with you at some of the most important sort of family and friend moments of your life.
I mean, you must have an incredible level of market penetration.
Yeah, look, I mean, barbecues are obviously a big part of the Australian way of life, and Weber's a big part of barbecuing in Australia. But I guess it's an interesting point as I think to the future and the trends that are out there. One of the big challenges for us as a market leader, I think, is to continually look for opportunities to grow the market, expand the market. And I think some of the trends that we see today moves away from such high levels of red meat consumption, for example, present us with really interesting new opportunities to engage brand new audiences and showcase that broader value that a barbecue can bring. I mean, the Grill Academy running a vegetarian class to help people who choose not to eat as much meat or choose not to eat meat at all, to help those people engage with barbecuing. That's super important for us. And that's the kind of thing that's going to keep driving us forward.
Well, that certainly seems to be a massive new market. Now I go to the supermarket now and I just see more and more vegan and vegetarian meals everywhere. And I guess people don't think about barbecue and anything other than meat.
Yeah, not today. I think that's right. I think traditionally it's been that marriage between meat and barbecue. And I think there is obviously a trend towards veganism, towards vegetarian, but also there's a climate conscious consumer who's consuming less red meat. There's a health conscious consumer who's consuming less red meat. And so for us to stay really relevant and a part of those experiences in people's backyards, I think it's important that we show you that we're not just for meat. We're for vegetables as well. We're for desserts. We're for pizzas. All of those different touch points that, Weber can add a lot of value to people's lives.
What does success in the business look like to you as the CEO?
So, at a sort of a cultural headline sense, we talk a lot about brand equity. And we talk about it in a kind of idealistic way. We talk about the number of people, if you like, who feel good about Weber and compare that to the number of people who feel bad about Weber. And we think that our business success is really driven off the fact that there's a differential there, and hopefully it's in the right direction. And that means people are speaking positively about us. People are enjoying their experiences with Weber, and that continues to build organically the Weber fan base. So brand equity is the key thing, creating positivity about the brand.
And we're talking about growth through technology, et cetera. What are the things you would like to see? How would you like to see technology more enabling in your business and organisations like Loftus? What more can they do for you?
Well, I think at the moment where I spoke a little bit about e-commerce, and there's obviously lots of opportunities that come along with that. As a business that sells big, heavy boxes, barbecues are not easy to transport around. And so for me, one of the places that we're really going to focus some of our attention is on building stronger connections digitally through technology with our retail partners so that we can start to leverage them as places for our e-commerce to be pickup points or micro distribution centers. I kind of picture a world where technology enables us to get you a 120 kilogram barbecue delivered next day in the Atherton Tablelands. That's what I don't want to open a warehouse in the Atherton Tablelands, but I do want that experience to be there for people out in remote areas of Australia. And I think technology and partnership with our retailers is the way that we're going to be able to do that.
So what is the Weber of the future look like? We've talked a little bit about, because the shape and size and whatever has changed dramatically over the years from that first one that I had, where I spent half my life trying to get the coal at the right temperature on both sides, and oh my God. Where do you see the next major shift, I guess?
So for what you've just explained, I think the type of barbecue that suits people that have had that experience of finding it difficult to fiddle with the bits and pieces and get it quite right, there's a new wave of barbecues coming through from Weber that are, I'd say, use electrical power a lot more, and electrical power gives you a lot more control. So instead of talking about flames, we're talking about elements, and we're talking about really being able to regulate that temperature. So as you say, to get the barbecue just the temperature you want, what if you're able to turn the barbecue to that temperature, and then as you want to change that, do it from your phone, technology enabled, your barbecue will prompt you to make those changes, make things super, super simple, but still give you the type of barbecued food that you expect from Weber. That's where I think a huge part of the future of barbecuing is going, making it easy and foolproof. There will always be people, and I'm one of them, who like to get the charcoal under my fingernails and spend the afternoon doing it. But for a lot of people, apartment living, Tuesday evening, grill a couple of chicken breasts for two people living in an apartment. You just want it to be simple, and that's where it's headed.
I must admit, it was always a great excuse to spend an hour or two in the backyard with a beer in one hand, complaining about the barbecue and how difficult it was to my wife, who was inside going, what the hell, when is this thing ever going to be ready? So, I mean, once again, that goes back to the stories and the culture and whatever. And I guess in terms of your marketing, it's shipping some of those stories out there and, remember bringing those memories back. I always remember people talking about one of the reasons that Kodak fell out of business was they didn't realise they were in the memories business. They thought they were in the photographic business. And I guess that you guys are in touch with what the business you're in, and it's not moving boxes that people cook on. It's creating memories.
Absolutely right. I mean, I think there's a brilliant quote from somebody that worked in Weber many years ago, which is that we're not in the metal bending industry, we're in the entertainment industry. We need to remember that. And that's really what it's all about. It's about creating those memories, like you say, because that's ingrained in somebody in a way that the product will never be. I also think, just on that point, that we're extraordinarily lucky, or it's a great time for the brand, perhaps is a better way to say that, that social media enables such amazing sharing of those stories. Mm-hmm. You hop out there and have a look through social media at some of the Weber, I'd call them fan clubs that are out there, and it's incredible. These guys are doing things on their barbecues that sort of we only dream of, and sharing those experiences, those memories. Those are organic groups of people that have got together to share their love of Weber barbecuing. And I think, social media means that instead of it just being the 10 people I invited round, I can now communicate to 10,000 people through a Facebook group and share my experiences. I think it's a great time to be in our industry.
Speaking about great times, what, as a young CEO emerging into the business that you traditionally had a lot to do with. What's your advice to others looking to grow, and particularly in South Australia, looking to have a go?
I think in South Australia, at times we have a tendency to think that it's a limitation being based in Adelaide, that in some way clips our wings or shortens our horizons. And I think the world's eyes are open now through the COVID period when we haven't been travelling, when we haven't been in shared workplaces a lot of the time. I think it's opening the eyes of people to the fact that the world is your oyster, truly, and being based in Adelaide is no hindrance to that. And so I guess my view of that is to think beyond the borders of just what's here in Adelaide and think of yourself as truly being able to reach customers all over the world from an amazing place to live and work like Adelaide.
And I think you're a great example, having said what you said about Loftus earlier, of really sticking to what it is you're good at as an individual, as a business, and saying, well, these guys are really good at what they do. Let's form a really good alliance and a good partnership, as opposed to shopping around for the best price. Build a long-term partnership with the people you work with.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely part of our culture. It's part of our philosophy, is one of partnership. We talk about it with our retailers. We talk about it with our suppliers. We talk about it with our partners in the US, Weber in the US. And I think that goes back to the brand equity statement, which is if we want people feeling good about Weber, I don't just mean that in terms of a consumer. I mean that in terms of the guys at Loftus. How do they talk about doing business with the Weber business? And I think through partnership, we can create amazing sort of experiences on each side and speak positively, and it works well for everybody. So yeah, partnership's a huge part of what we do.
Well, Michael, thank you very much for that. As someone who has gone off meat in the last couple of years, I'm very pleased to know that I can do a very good eggplant steak.
Absolutely.
On a Weber.
Yeah, no, get amongst it. Eggplant, cauliflower, it's out there for you.
Jackfruit.
Jackfruit. Yeah, absolutely. Pulled jackfruit's a thing these days.
See, people laugh when I talk about this kind of stuff, but it actually is. It tastes good and it's good for you.
Absolutely right. Yeah, and it's a huge part of the way the world is going, and it's an important part of what's happening, and we need to be a part of that as well, because like you say, we don't sell you the meat, we don't sell you the product, we sell you the experience.
If you'd like to learn more about our guests, or you'd like to be part of a future show, head to yourbusinesstoo.live.